I was gonna wait to do this message, man, but whew, I was eating. I'm like, listen. Let me tell y'all, bro. I just got finished skating. Greetings to all, peace to all. Just a little brief little message. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming with a brief little nap. I like to get in that sun. So, oatmeal raisin my favorite. Oatmeal raisin my favorite. So yeah, let me dive right into this. Perspective is everything. Perspective. I know y'all love my hair. Only I can do this. Only I can do this. But perspective is everything. Let me express this to y'all. And I'm going to be speaking from not just the adult me, but from the inner child. So let's just say I'm skating, right? And then I take a seat. I take a seat at this park, which is predominantly people of fairer skin, lighter tone, lighter shade, whatever you want to call it. Anywho, I got this, as I sit there, breathe, take things in, I was given this insight. I was given this awareness. And as I was sitting there on the swing at this park, in a predominantly, again, lighter shade community, in a probably one of the wealthiest, people know, like when you're in a certain environment, you can tell, just letting the kids play at the park or whatever. I'm noticing when I sit places, and I want to bring a lot of you into a perspective of a man that is darker. And it's like I say the things that people are uncomfortable to say, but I want to make it relatable because I'm here to bridge things to, sometimes see why it is people act the way they do. And it's not that I care. It's sometimes I just wonder, why are people so divided within themselves? Or why is it that they're so guarded? So I'm sitting there and I'm just swinging. My son's resting, in the car seat resting. And I'm swinging. And then it just hits me like this visual, like follow me here, this visual of I'm sitting there as a, for those of you that don't know my height, I'm like around 6'4". And again, I have tattoos or whatever. But I'm sitting there and I just notice in these areas, and I know a lot of people that can relate who have, typically are darker or just look a certain way. And it's almost like I could just pick up on the energy of light. The swing that I'm on can sit probably 3 or 4 people my size. And I'm just observing, sitting back, letting people walk by, just seeing, and just notice how I was telling my partner, I said, it's wow how I get this insight, how unapproachable, like, people perceive things, like how, what is approachable in this world? How do I have to look? And, thoughts can come up of people, like, let's say if you're in a career setting. Before I get there, let me just focus on where I'm at. It's me sitting there and then just seeing how people interact, seeing how the entirety of the duration there, one person spoke out of 30, 40 people with their kids. And, it's like there's no depth to a lot of people. And I've noticed this in these certain demographics. There's no depth. There's no, their insecurities or just their curiosity peaks so much because y'all don't realize, like, when I'm out places, And if you know, you just, again, I have my hair like this and everything. It don't bother me how people perceive me or anything like that. It's just the awareness around when I look, sometimes people like this and they look away. And it's like they're unconsciously wanting to say something. They're uncomfortable. But so many people, like my partner was mentioning, like, you know, some of these people have literally grew up around people that just look like them. Or they have this skepticism or just this paranoia around just darker people, period, whether it to be true or not. And that shit amazes me sometimes, but then again, it doesn't surprise me. And again, the visual I'm gonna give you is like, imagine me just sitting there, 6'4", you know, guy with all these tattoos. And to some people, their perspective, okay, he's a basketball player. Okay, I'll give you that. But it's like, visualize like this, there's a little boy inside of me with his hands out like this, just wanting to be received, wanting to just be embraced. And I'm sitting there and I'm picking up on it. I'm like, well, what is it about me? You don't know me, but what is it about me? What conclusion have you came to, you know, seeing these elders, seeing these people with their kids? And it literally, for y'all that don't know, and I'll be the first to say, for people that are darker or certain people, depending on the demographic or depending on their experience that they've had in America or the U.S., or how they have received their image or the psychology of who they're supposed to be in this world. And I think it just like shocks people when they do see someone just out minding their business. But I tell y'all something. They are so afraid sometimes and they don't even know why. But their curiosity, their amazement, or they just want to know about you, but they don't even know how. They don't even know how to approach you. They don't even know how to interact. They don't even know how to communicate. Because a lot of people have been around, their programming has simply been around just people that look like them. And that's why you have certain classes of people, lower class, mid class, all this bullshit when it comes to the humanity. And people don't even know how to be a human. Their programming is, they don't even realize they're unconsciously dehumanizing people. Because they're so caught up in the narrative that they want to project to the world. And it's so disconnected from who they really want to be. I'm sitting there and I'm just sitting there, I mean, through the whole hour, 2 hours. And, you know, my inner child is like, well, why don't people talk to me? Why don't people communicate to me? Why? And this is for a lot of darker men. Again, I'm speaking from my perspective. Why aren't people approaching me? And I told my partner, I was like, sometimes it can make one feel, and I'm not saying that this is everyone's story, but it can make one feel like, what's wrong about me? And you know, you will question yourself, your identity. And where I'm at, I'm just very confident in who I am. So again, in certain places, when people see me skating, you know, certain things, it's like they're in awe. And it's not just so much of my skating ability, it's so much of like, what are you doing here? And certain demographics, for people that don't know, when you go into certain spaces and stuff, they're even their kids carry the same energy. Their kids carry the same energy. Because people don't realize, like, they're just as curious. I've been in certain places where I've been to libraries, I've been in environments where their kids are so curious. They'll come up, or some kids will, you know, they'll give that face and stuff like that. Like, people, I'm bringing y'all into my world, or into the world of darker people. In certain places where they go to, there's such an uncomfortability within our inner world that we don't even know how to live amongst each other. That's what y'all not getting what I'm saying. And then I'm picking up on other people, but I don't need to question myself when I'm in a space or a place or demographics where I need to fear for my safety. It has taken a lot to even get to a place where I am comfortable and secure that the police, that someone won't call the police. Even, the other day looking at a property, looking at stuff, and in certain places or neighborhoods where people could just automatically assume that you a criminal, or you're there to steal, or you work for someone. So again, in a park setting, there's no interaction. Yes, like, people don't get confused. You will see a nice, well put together neighborhood. It seems like the most perfect neighborhood. But let me tell you from experience, not all, but there are a lot of people that are so disconnected. I mean, it's almost like living in the fucking Twilight Zone sometimes, when you just seeing people who literally, in these certain settings where the divine brings me to, like, where you will be in a predominantly like, I'm gonna use the term Caucasian, or, demographic, or just community. And it's like one can feel out of place, but then again, it tells me to get into place, become more in tune. And the interactions are so, not all, but this is just from my experience, the interactions are so surface level. It's like all these resources, but all the things look so, they're structured, but at the same time, there's no depth. It's the same basketball, football, this and that. And again, to each their own, how people want to subscribe to what it is. But the park thing made me think about, or made me wonder, like, y'all don't realize, like, some people literally have a dialogue or a narrative about darker people. And they literally don't want their kids to interact. And it's almost like their kids can pick up on them. But there's been experiences also where I've been around people where their kids come up to me and we interact, and it literally makes the mother and parent or father so uncomfortable. And I just sit there and I say, oh, well, that's going to be an interesting conversation when they get home. Like, this makes me wonder, like, people don't realize how to the depths when it comes to just being a darker shade. It's not just about being, I don't like the term black, it's just a darker shade. And just seeing so much of a disconnect in humanity, and how it's just wild, man. Like, that perspective, just sitting back, it's like to see the people. You can just tell when people have never seen someone in a space or at a park or a certain place, and it literally, y'all don't realize, like, I can only imagine their paranoia or scarcity around. You know what I'm saying? I be telling y'all, it's nothing against them, that's their life. But these are the very people who have no connection with darker people. These are the people who literally hide in their communities. Like I said, you can have the most racist or towns that will literally, you can see what they call, like, the rebel flags, Confederate flags, if you want to use that, or, you can tell when you in a place like, okay, this is definitely a sundown town. Let me tell y'all something. It is no different in a lot of certain towns, where just because it's well put together doesn't mean it's very welcoming. And it's wild, because I was just sitting there like, whoa, like, I realize it's where I give people grace. It's like, it's not even their fault. Or is it? Is it their fault, or is it, like, it's not even who's to blame, but where does the accountability come in? Because you go back to their parents and their great-grandparents. Again, how systems, if you look at the last 100 years, and people ignore the fact that there isn't and has been structural racism, or, just structural self-hatred. And they don't even realize how deep the programming is. It's wild, man. Like, some of these places I go and I'm being called there just to feel. And it's how much confidence that you have to have even when you go in certain career spaces or certain things where it's a culture shock. It's literally a culture shock. And I would say, from my perspective, the difference is that you can meet people and you can have lifelong partnerships or friendships, from a different culture or creed. I'm not discrediting that at all. I'm just noticing, and I guess I'm just seeing where home is for me, because a big theme is for me is like we all trying to find home within ourselves. A lot of us, I think a lot of this shit that's happening, this shift that's amongst us all, is that a lot of people curiosity, whether it's a different culture or race or whatever it is, or just a lot of curiosity of being somewhere. I feel like a lot of even just our kids are bridges for that. And also we're a bridge for an old narrative and a whole new world to be reborn and rebirthed through us. It's the same thing, but it's wild because I'll sit there and just naturally see how certain mothers will go up to my daughter. They'll go up to the kids, or it's almost like this conflict avoidance theme in America that people don't even realize that they have. If you want to look more into that conflict avoidance, research it. It's like people want to avoid like the consequences or the best or worst outcome, because that's how deep like the trauma. I was telling my partner, I said, it's not always this case, but there's a high percentage when you see, like, let me say, if I go to the trenches or to the, a different neighborhood where I see people that are darker, naturally there's always something that's going to be relatable. And what's so common is typically some type of trauma bond or pain, or we can relate that way. We can relate on some type of level where, whether it's a cousin or uncle, it's just like, boom, we just click. And I've noticed that that's all to some people. Meaning that, from my perspective now, where I'm at and what I'm experiencing could be the best possible outcome for certain things, but the worst for other people, because of the conflict avoidance. Because a lot of people that I know don't want, or their mindset do not want to grow outside of the trenches or the hood to experience things like this, where they will feel uncomfortable, where they will, again, the conflict avoidance, they'll go work in a certain area, but they don't feel confident to live in it, or they don't feel confident to step away from what they're familiar with. And it goes both ways. For people that are lighter, yeah, they can grow up in a well put together neighborhood and so forth, but at the same moment, the conflict avoidance, they literally avoid really interacting with darker people or darker shaded people because of a narrative that has been twisted that all of us are the same. And deep down on a cellular and or soul level, spiritual level, there's something that always connects us, whether that be joy and or pain. So I've noticed this theme with the conflict avoidance, because when I say there's no depth to a lot of when you are in certain demographics, that, when I mean that people are just surface fucking level. They're surface level. But at the same time, you can see people that want to connect. And when I mean surface level, it's like there's no creative spark to them. Or it's not that they don't have creativity. They're just not in tune. So only thing they can do is show surface things, material things. And that's what a lot of people. And that's what the America is like. It's falling in on itself, as being dismantled. That people only know what really they've been shown. And that's where grace comes in, because I don't expect most of the kids to interact, because they're a reflection of their caregivers. And a lot of these caregivers, again, they so well put together, but there's no depth to people at all. And this is how I slowly and intentionally have become more aware of what is for me and what isn't. And I would, share that with anyone. Like, the more you get to know yourself, you will become more aware how much of like mostly like the world is so robotic or so like doing the same thing. And it's I told someone, I said, you know, I can see how my kids or, you know, will change the world. And I don't mean just by their actions, it's alone, but it's by the fact that they first will accept their world. And that's what I feel is very vital for a lot of us. Your acceptance of who you are will naturally have a ripple effect on changing the world. And that's why I prioritize authenticity of telling my story, living it, and realizing like how much that still has a ripple effect on everyone and even the generation after me. Where again, you will see this theme of fake it till you make it. And in reality, it's like, why not be honest with yourself until you and realize you've already made it? Because again, success or someone else's vices is different than, you know, someone else's success and vices could be completely different than yours. But man, I just realized like, yo, it's different. It's much different, bro. Like to just see, it's almost like this it's not tension, but underlying tension, how disconnected people are in certain demographics, man. It's like you want to interact, but the first thing they'll be talking about, I know a lot of people can relate to this, is work or something to do with, you know, success, money or something. It's like, is that all? And there's no difference in being in certain demographics with people that are darker. It's like, bro, can we talk about anything else but struggling, pain, or something like that? Like, can we, you know, there's just more to life as you realize it, as you unfold, like life unfolds, and the more you get to know yourself, it's just more than life. But that perspective was like when I was sitting there on that chair, man, on that swing, and I was getting that insight of, it's just like what those little kids are doing, interacting, it's the same as adults. We want to do the same thing, but we keep ourselves from doing it. We literally have created so many blockages or so many things where we've created so many different classes. We've created so many things to divide us rather than like certain demographics be having these big ass parks. And I'm like, bro, if we had parks like this in the trenches, you know how many people are having cookouts? You know how many people be playing music? And that's what I be seeing. Like, it's like the total, this, bro, it's like, whoa. I don't think people realize how much we really do have in common. And ain't even just that, how much we can bring out of each other. And I feel like that's what the world has been focused on so much. It's like, when you focus on the worst of things, you're focusing on avoiding that interaction with people. So your people programming is typically to look at the worst. Oh, if I interact with this person, and I'm not saying people haven't had interactions or certain things with people that didn't turn out well, but the awareness of how things are shifting. I realize I'm brought into these spaces to see a whole different perspective, to see how some people just, there's no depths. I'm looking at these big ass houses. I'm like, man, I wonder what those conversations are about. Or which college you're going to, son, or what are you doing, or your mom, it's just like, I be wanting to really sit down because I've been around people like that. And I'm like, well, what's really going on? Like, what's really going on with you? It's like you hide it very well. You hide it very well. And that's why I'm realizing with human interaction, I'm like, people hide it so well, like with their clothing, everything. And they have no type of like, know how to bro, I'm so ready to do these talks in so many millions and hundreds of thousands of people. I'm ready to do these talks, bro. I'm ready, because I realize like the things that we have realized that has divided us the most is our own internal stuff, bro. I guarantee you, if you sit a woman down like where I'm at in certain areas like this, and they sit down with someone in a whole different demographic and they really have a one-on-one, I'm not saying they have to be the best of friends. but what's keeping you from actually growing together. So what this person have this money, so what you don't. So what this person live here, so what you don't. So what this kid is darker, so what this one isn't. So what? Like I said, I was sitting there on that chair and I was like, dang, what do I have to look a certain way? Do I have to speak a certain way? Do I have to speak more properly or, intellectually? Do I have to, say things a certain way? Do I need to dress a certain way to be accepted, to be embraced? And I was like giving y'all this visual of my inner child, just like there's something within us just wants to feel a sense of belonging with everyone out there. But when I see the kids doing that, and the adults just standing around so protected, so conflicted with themselves, so on guard. And I was just like, wow. I was sitting in that chair, that swing, and not that it bothered me. I'm like, dang, I'm not going to bite nobody. You can sit down. You'll see the mothers again. Did I finish that statement? Where you'll see the mothers with their kids, and they don't even know how to interact with you. Like, they don't even know how to have interactions with darker people. Because a lot of them know what's going on. They know even if they don't know what's going on in the atmosphere, the racist tension or in the country or whatever, they've known it for years. And not only that for some, but it's also the fact that they know that their grandparents and parents have purposely kept them away from that. So there's always going to be a curiosity there. I'm telling you, I met women like that have kids by men that look like them, but they still have this curiosity and attraction. And I was telling my partner, I said, there's an attraction. These women look, and I'm not talking about a physical attraction. There's an inner attraction. People have an attraction. You are magnetism. People have an attraction, and they don't know why they want to get to know you. They don't know why they want to interact. They don't know why. And I realized, I'm like, wow, they don't know how. They don't know how. And they literally program their kids, they keep programming their kids like to be perfect in everything. I'm like, oh my God. I think that's one of the deepest programs. Let me tell y'all from different perspectives. In a certain demographics where there are darker people, it's like there's so much emphasis and projections of just experiencing life through trauma. Did y'all hear what I just said? I grew up in environments where I was surrounded by people who their belief systems that they will literally project on you you ain't gonna be ish when you grow up, or you're just like your mom, you're just like your father, and or you're just subjected to working a 9 to 5, or you're just subjected to just being a nigga, or you ain't gonna make it out, and when you do, you better come back and save everybody. Then it's no difference than seeing certain demographics where they're just for each other. We don't even see the double-edged sword in this. I'm not saying that when it comes to certain demographics of darker people, what people are like still believe that isn't happening. It's the fact of like, a lot of us don't realize like it, just because you moved out or move away doesn't mean that you remove the internal unresolved shit within yourself. In these demographics of people that are lighter, who have it all together, they have all the money. Let me tell you something. I can pick up on their energy. Like I can feel it. I can feel their fear. I can feel their fear of just being around someone that looks like me. I can sense the unresolved things that their grandfather, grandmother, mother, father never faced. I can sense it. And it's so evident. And so again, that perspective of, you got people that come from certain demographics where they're used to someone projecting onto them like all their fears and so things. And that's I seen it in the dark community. Then I also seen it in the lighter shade community. They always project this professionalism. They always project, and it's different for everyone. They always project that, you can have someone You know, you're great, you're awesome, you're this, sending them to the brightest of schools, having the money to send them to the public schools, you know, and y'all don't realize how a lot of you are keeping these kids from experiencing a life outside of your belief system. My experiences now is showing me, the little boy inside of me and just the adult, to finally live outside of my mother's belief system or societal belief systems of what a, not only societal belief system of what a darker man should be, the misconception, the misinformation, the confusion, the judgment, the criticism. I had to remove that bullshit from my belief system and seeing what the divine believe me should, like a reflection of that. Then my mother's belief system of me, you know, what she said I was and would be and so forth, what I wouldn't be, all those things. And then that gradually I had to cleanse and remove myself of that within myself. So a lot of you don't even realize, again, I've said before, you got belief systems that ain't even your own. You living in a career, you living in a career or living out something that ain't even your own belief system. And that's the thing where people don't realize what's authentic in living in integrity about that. You literally have been a part of structures who told you who to be. And y'all lie and make it seem like you're happy with it. Happy inside or joy. Like, I be seeing it, I be sitting back, I be like, bro, I can tell he tired of his mama or his father. Well, if you don't go to this Ivy League college, if you don't go here, son, if you don't be a doctor, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, if you don't get married first and have kids and, you know, then your kids are this, and it's so much shit. And y'all don't even know how to develop your own belief systems. Y'all don't, in the world full of, like, literally convincing people to be everything but themselves, like literally the fake it till you make it concept, or just you know, take on everyone else's narrative but your own. Because if you don't accept and believe what mom and dad say, you're wrong. Like, bro, I'm trying to tell you, bro, it's so wild to see the different perspectives, bro, or to see the perspectives in life, how I'm sitting back going to this perspective of seeing people again that have a lighter shade and saying like, oh, you're great, you're amazing, yeah, you're this, you're that. But y'all unconsciously teaching your kids not to even, you literally been raising your kids to internalize, to have structural racism, internalize self-hatred. That's y'all believe. And then when they go out there and wanted to interact or come across people, because y'all kept them sheltered most of their lives in certain neighborhoods. Y'all kept them sheltered, overprotective, because of the programming of, like, some of y'all grandmothers and great-grandmothers and grandfathers' karma returning to y'all. Of what you know, that what happened. And some of y'all don't even know, but some of y'all do. But again, it's like, that's, if you want to know about someone's world, imagine me sitting down with you and say, hey, I might have not came from the best environment or the biggest homes and had the money, but I'll tell you one thing, peace can give you, or just a sense of security it can give you. I don't gotta fake it. I don't gotta fake myself in front of you, and I sure as fuck don't gotta pretend just because, oh, you got money, oh, you live here. I don't have to want what you have and be jealous of it. And that's the thing that people don't realize, is that how much we have created, to how much has been divided amongst people, to where people hold this deep jealousy or envy towards a certain people. Whether you have some who they're mad because they're not darker, or they think that darker people are more athletic. So what? So what? I know people that ain't the darkest and lightest and still athletic. But so what? So what? Then you got people that coming out of the trenches and hoods and they're striving to be like people that don't look like them. For what? to live in their communities that don't even want to accept and embrace them. For what? So what? And again, a lot of them will never know until they grow up, until they get into these schools, until they get these scholarships, you know, certain things where they realize how much y'all didn't realize how much divided we are within ourselves and amongst people. And those very things are going to bring us together. Those very things, again, it's like people are literally choosing sides or already have what they want to be a part of. A lot of y'all are choosing the sides where, well, you know what, I'd rather be here with my basically my my mama and my dad, and who you knowingly have this internal racism or internal hatred. And a lot of you are going to choose that because you fear the consequences, or you fear developing your own belief systems and building something from authenticity and integrity. That's what you're finna see. It's already playing out, honestly. And it's going to be keep more and more be exposed of how people can dress it up, but they're going to realize how much they've lied to themselves and how much their mother and grandmother and all these people have lied to themselves, and how much that they'll act and pretend, or how much they're, you know, people have acted and pretend like, oh, well, you know, I'm fond of darker people, but y'all don't have no interactions. Y'all don't, there's nothing. That goes to me, like in my even experiences. I had to learn from my experiences, my grandmother, people I know, to realize like my mindset around people that don't look like me or from different cultures don't have to be like theirs. They've been closed-minded. They've been closed off. They've been sitting in the same neighborhoods and communities the same. I'm not saying their truth isn't what it is, but I'm just saying they hold on to things. And they don't want to expand. They don't want to change. They don't want to live, you know, be honest with themselves and other people. So, man, I'm telling you, man, I could just see how sitting on that chair and, you know, my inner child is like, hey, do you see me? And at times it can feel like, what most people don't realize, it's like an invisible man. But I realize how disconnected people are. So I have to immediately like tell myself, like, I don't have to doubt my confidence. I don't have to doubt who I am. What's for me won't miss me. Or what's for me, you know, these are just not my people. There will be people to the depths who will see who I am. And, you know, it won't be a facade. And that's why I realize is that a lot of people aren't approachable or don't approach you because your energy speaks. I cannot hide who I am, and I don't want to. But I realize that's been a theme for years and for so long that people have done. It's like they truly don't have interactions. They truly don't have healthy relationships with themselves and other people. And this goes for both. People that are lighter shade, darker shade, different, you know, whatever it is. They will sell a dream, or have been selling these dreams to the youth and these illusions that are falling away, just to prey on their childhood woundings, us as adults, or just to make money off of it. And these things are crumbling. These things are crumbling and falling. And so it's very evident when I'm in certain communities or certain places where I'm like, okay, this is just another place. This is just another place that knowingly were built on keeping people that were dark out, or a place where they have built structurally so much of an internalized hatred to where they choose not to interact. And to my viewers, this has always been ongoing until someone not only speaks about it, but confidently realizes like there's nothing to prove. You don't have to make people like you or accept you. You got to ask yourself what type of world you only want to live in, but reality world, or even your experience, because my experience is not theirs, so I cannot judge them. But I also realize like certain places I am called to be is to bring up the uncomfortability in a lot of people. Even how I present myself, even how confidently I speak intellectually, And to even let people judge before they even hear me speak or call them out on their shit. Sometimes I don't even have to. My energy speaks. I don't make people uncomfortable. It's their own internal battle. That's the thing we have to realize. I know people that are darker that are not too fond of people that are lighter, or even whatever lighter shade, whatever nationality, simply because their experiences, or simply because you got some elders that never came outside of their demographics. I have, grandmothers and great grandfathers and, people that grew up in those times where things was not as easy accessible as they are now. So doesn't mean people still don't hide their self-hatred. So again, a lot of this highlights a lot, man. I'll just be sitting back like, whoa. Going back to like even people with their kids, they won't even have interactions with you. They'll have interactions with the kids. That's how much conflict, like internalized, like how much how they really don't want to interact with people. That's how much like internally that they're either afraid of or they just don't know how. They just don't know how. And one thing you don't got to do is force connection. You don't have to force anything. That's one thing I had to gradually accept. It's like, you don't have to force. And that's what I realized, like, most people don't realize, I'm going to leave y'all with this, is that you're talking about living in a country where it seems like you've been tolerated. Not only during your childhood, but it's like a country that you don't feel appreciated. You feel tolerated. I got to tolerate them because they live here or they live in this community now, and, tolerate. Like, no sense of gratification, appreciation, and so forth. And it's wild because a lot of people aren't aware that they are part of that shit. It's like, well, they live here now, or they do this, so we just gotta tolerate them, even though the underlying, they don't like your kind, they don't. And it's like they skip past the fact of what they're doing is dehumanizing, or not wanting their kids to just simply interact or have any interactions with people, with another human being. And sadly, just because of someone's darker, lighter, it's wild. So again, it's I sit back, bro, and I'll be observing this stuff while I see, again, mothers and fathers, typically mothers, who, again, what did that lady do? She her daughter came up to my son when he was like resting, and they'd be like, oh, hey, oh, look at the baby. Say nothing to you. Say nothing to. I just be like, people are so fucking weird. Like, y'all strange for no reason. Strange. I'll say the word strange. Or just whatever. Like, it's just. And it's like, it's nothing against them. It's just like, we don't even realize how much. Folks don't even realize how much they don't even think that people should not even exist, but feel a sense of belonging. Y'all literally have built communities. People have literally built structures. These things that y'all see in place, it's literally, when you say keep someone out or not to accept people, you think that makes them feel, or, a sense of belonging just as a human being? So I'm learning a lot, again, just these different perspectives of being places, learning, observing, and then literally speaking it and then moving on. That's all I can do. Like, I don't take it personal. I just be like, whoa. I just wouldn't want to be in a position because I've grown up and gotten along with everybody. Like, when I modeled, met people from all across around the world, because at the time I thought growing up that just being around darker people, you got to realize what you see mostly young, you thinking that that's your world. That's just all there is. And it isn't. But then you start to recognize that this is how people are. This is how they act. This is what their preference is. You can't judge them. That's just their life. And I just, the more and more I be in place, I be like, man, I could not, like, whoa. That's the type of time you're on. And it's wild because I think it's very important what belief system you have and what you want to give your kids, man. Because y'all think the world isn't changing. Man, this shit is shifting so fast. It's shifting so fast. And it's, I was expressing to someone, I said, I preferably rather be honest with myself so that my kids, when I grow wiser and in age, they don't have to question me. They don't have to second guess, my decisions or create resentment, or there be resentment built because I wasn't honest with myself first. And we're living in a world where people don't know how to be honest with them first. The people pleasing, the world is splitting, man. It's literally splitting. And people pleasing can be just simple as like just taking care of the ones that look like you, or just being in environments where it's just y'all and you're trying to, the conflict avoidance aspect of like, well, I'm just gonna do what everyone feels like I should do rather than listen to myself. And I'm telling you, man, it's like, whoa. I feel for the kids and have compassion for the kids, because a lot of them are at a space where outside of their skin color, they're connected to a higher power. They don't see color. It's what the programming of the powers that ain't, or what used to be. It's literally what we've been like as humanity and people have been messing these kids up, bro. Y'all don't even realize, and that's what's coming back full circle. So, yeah. Y'all remember to take care of yourself. And ask yourself, like, what type of belief system are you developing for yourself first, and what you want to leave, and and the more and more day to day, I'm like, when I see things happen, the more confident and more sure I become of myself, because I just refuse to be like this. Oh God, I be seeing it, bro. I'm like, wow, just Oof. Dang, I don't think people know how deep they're programming, and how I can see how people gonna go through so much. Like I said, you can come from a different graphic that it's literally will have you believing that you're just good for nothing. But then you can come from, then you can be in a whole demographic where you're just good for everything. Are y'all peeping what I'm saying? It's like the programming so deep to where the fake happiness is a thing. And then in certain demographics where I've seen darkers that the faking the pain is a thing. Woo! Certain demographics, I can see how people like deeply fake the happiness. And then it's similar. It's both. Man. It's like people fake the happiness so well. And they fake the pain so well. It's so deep. Man, y'all take care of yourself. Peace and bliss. Shalom.